Stephen Strange. Might I offer you some advice? Forget everything that you think you know.
You're a man looking at the world through a keyhole. You've spent your life trying to widen it. Your work saved the lives of thousands. What if I told you that reality is one of many?
I don't believe in fairy tales about chakras or energy or the power of belief.
You wonder what I see in your future? Possibility.
Why are you doing this?
There are other ways to save lives. So much you don't know.
Teach me.
Hey YouTubers, so we finally got some Doctor Strange footage. Let's break it down. Already from the level of weirdness, you can tell that this is going to change the reality of Marvel films going forward. Now remember, he crosses into other dimensions. They're not talking about the multiverse, so it's not quite the same thing. Tilda Swinton, as the Ancient One, looking awesome, tells him there are other realities as it jumps back and forth between his time before he got into his accident and after. If you don't know anything about Doctor Strange, he's this world-famous surgeon who ends up smashing his hands in a car accident that you actually see here. He has to find meaning, and he finds it through magic, through the Ancient One. The voiceover that's saying, "Forget everything you know," that's Chiwetel Ejiofor as Baron Mordo, who's actually a big Doctor Strange villain, but probably not in this movie. Mads Mikkelsen is going to be the big villain of this movie, and it's still a mystery as to who he's playing. It doesn't look like Dormammu, even though Dormammu is the Lord of the Dark Dimension. He's kind of like Mephisto. They're just like different versions of devil-like characters, some of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe, with the exception of Thanos when he's wearing the Infinity Gauntlet. Rachel McAdams' character looks like she might end up being Night Nurse. She's just a person that treats other people in the Marvel Universe when they need help and they can't go to a real hospital. Like say Spider-Man gets hurt, he needs medical attention, you can't take him to a normal hospital because they'll find out his identity. So they take people like that to Night Nurse. Because we see her in the hospital scrubs, it looks like she's going to be a through line, like a relationship from before his accident to his time as Sorcerer Supreme. And that's what's happening at the end of the trailer. He's walking up the steps to his Sanctum Sanctorum. So the trailer covers the whole gamut. Like it covers him as a doctor, getting into the accident, finding the Ancient One, learning the mystical arts, then becoming Sorcerer Supreme. One of the problems in the comics originally, when he was first created by Stan Lee, he had a very Tony Stark type of origin story. He looks very much like Tony Stark. That's why they do jokes like this. Facial hair bros for life. If you showed this to someone who didn't know anything about comics, they might think that these two guys were brothers. But that's really where the similarity ends. Yeah, they used to be genius douchebags, now they're genius heroes trying to save all of time and space. If you know anything about Doctor Strange, you know he gets really trippy, so that's why we're seeing a lot of Inception, a lot of Matrix stuff going on here. So I can't wait to see him interact with the other Avengers. Now, like I said, Mads Mikkelsen is going to be the main villain of the film. All that Kevin Feige has said is that he's the leader of a rival sect, which is why it might not be Dormammu, it might be someone else. There are a whole bunch of big villains in the Doctor Strange comics, but this seems like someone who's either relatively small, that they've turned into a big thing for the movies, or somebody new they've created for the movie specifically. But when it comes to big villains, Marvel usually sticks pretty close to the comics, even if it changes minor details about backstory or glosses over things. The rumor is he could be playing Caecilius, which is a deep cut from like the 1960s in the Doctor Strange comics, but I guess we'll find out. What we might see though is shades of bigger villains as they battle each other. Dormammu's the easy one, he's like a Thanos level villain. There's Shumagorath, that's a really trippy octopus-looking creature. I would think in the name of simplicity, they would probably go for Dormammu over the giant eyeball tentacle monster, but it remains to be seen. So they might end up using Dormammu during the Doctor Strange movies, the same way they used Thanos with the Avengers movies, just kind of weave him in and then make him the big bad of a much, much later film. We do have to address Benedict Cumberbatch's accent. He's using an American accent, which sounds a little bit weird because in most of the roles that he's played, he's used his British accent, so that might take you a couple minutes to get used to, but I think it'll be fine. He's one of the best actors on the planet. Before they signed him, Marvel had been going after him for years. Kevin Feige was like, we've been trying to get him for forever, until they actually signed paper on ink. But let me know what your favorite thing about the trailer is. Really, I just love how trippy it looks. It's taking the standard superhero fare that we've gotten with the normal Marvel films, Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, and it's kind of flipping it on its head. So if you really liked how Ant-Man was weird and different from a lot of the other big Marvel films, this is just going to double down on that kind of awesome weirdness. I do feel like I'm going to have to do more explainer videos for Doctor Strange stuff than any other Marvel comic because people understand who Iron Man is. That's pretty straightforward. You know who the Hulk is, you know who Thor is. Doctor Strange gets into this weird psychedelic territory, but it's a whole universe worth of characters that we just have not seen in any of these other Marvel films yet. So if there's any videos that you guys want me to start with when it comes to Doctor Strange stuff, just let me know in the comments. But for the most part, the movie's going to have all the Doctor Strange core characters like Wong. We're going to have Nicodemus West. We'll probably have some other Avengers stuff going on in the background. I think they